Hi. So today's also going to be a vlog, and I think of vlogging as like playing music where for the duration of the song or the duration of the vlog, your everything is being counted, and that is like a reflection of reality where our minds record everything in absolute detail. And it's also when I think of music and I think of vlogs, I think of the jazz musicians that are dead now. Like they, the successful jazz musicians, they found a balance between musical integrity and expressing themselves in a way that is profitable, that gives them a very high standard of living. And yeah, the theme about jazz musicians that are dead now is that balance between, let's say, popularity and 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 an abundance of money. Because you ask anyone whether they want poverty or they want an abundance of money, and everyone knows what their answer is. And yeah, um, I didn't plan anything to share in this vlog, and I haven't been vlogging for a few days now because I I couldn't think of anything to share. But now I'm vlogging because I think there's something precious about doing something every day as like part of your daily routine. And I found that sort of value in writing, in blogging on WordPress, but I haven't gotten into the same groove with vlogging. And uh, well, recently I read an article around hi fi, and they said that like the $10 Apple dongle, the USB C to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack dongle, that was preferred over lots of other DACs in a blind test. And this is just me sharing casually because I just bought a MacBook Neo, and it has a headphone jack, and I've been comparing it to my other DAC, and between the two, I'm beginning to understand why the headphone jack is so, or why Apple's headphone jack, or why Apple's DAC is so attractive. It's because there's like a freshness to the sound. Yeah, I can only call it a freshness because, yeah, whatever. And in the article, they found out that the the one component that survived the blind test and was highly and everyone could distinguish which speaker was which was the speaker the kind of speaker you have. So that's interesting because that mean and the experience is congruent with my own experience because I've been comparing my tube preamp with a normal solid state preamp, like that I bought new. Both were bought new, and they're more similar than different. And I would have trouble blind testing both of them. They both sound good, in other words. And if you're not obsessive about comparison, you'd be happy with either of them. I think. And um, I've been sort of careless with listening to music as I always am. So I listen to the radio and I listen to stuff on Apple Music. And recently I've been into voice and piano. Like, it's so great when the singer is good enough that they can sing just to the piano, and it that that lack of layers, so to speak, sort of like makes the whole thing more grand and enticing to listen to. So recently I've been listening to Mika Nakashima's few albums where she only sang with a piano or about just a piano and maybe a guitar and maybe a double bass. Mm. So yeah, that's that's me for today. I also got interviewed for to be like screened before I take the course, before I take a course training me to be a physiotherapy assistant. And yeah, that's me for today. Good vlog. Bye.